So as you can see, look at the Dragonite right here. I think this Dragonite is actually it's not blushing to me. I feel like this Dragonite was actually slapped by a previous Dragonite who was so obsessed that he would not want his spot taken by this Dragonite in the logo.
I don't know what to say about that.
Anyway, hey everyone, this is Mikoin welcoming you back to another episode of the BLT-9 podcast. I am joined once again by
Kogair 2004.
And today, week 3 has, well, not today, 3 days ago, but week 3 ended, and week 4 is currently in the way. So let's do what we usually do and recap week 3 and what happened during week 3, and then we can move on to week 4 predictions.
Yes, and I'll just say in advance, I apologize for any possible background noise you might hear on my end. I'm in a less than ideal place for this.
Okay, so today we have again once again 40 matches to cover, but all of the matches seem to be like they're. I feel like this week is a step above weeks 1 and 2 because week 1 and 2 there were some pretty odd games that happened, but I think week 3 I think generally it has like the best games, but there was also like really games in here and really dominant outcast games as well. But glad to see everyone step up their game after the past 2 weeks.
Indeed, in terms of both Mons brought in sets and I don't know, that's basically what stood out to me.
Yeah, just general overall play as well. So, let's start off first with the Ruin Valley Roserades beating the Lacian Solgaleos. Nice to see that the Roserades actually won a week instead of kind of sucking in the past 2 weeks, but you know what? You can attribute to that to them having hard matchups, and it's nice to see them dominate the Solgaleos this time. So first off, we had 7U9I2 beating Rimsit B. This was an upset and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So, taking a look at the game, there were a couple of odd moments, but we'll get to them when we get to them. So the game starts off like your typical Uber's game, like for example, you got your Necrozma, you got your Xerneas, you got your Blissey, you got your Ho-Oh, Xerneas, Eternatus, and Zygarde, and your Veltal crap. And the game starts out pretty normally. I mean, both players were pretty evenly matched here until a certain point where Rim revealed a really cool Ho-Oh set. Wouldn't you believe it? It was a Fire Spin, Thunder Wave, Sacred Fire, and a fourth move. It was used to trap Necrozma, which enabled him to basically get a kill off Necrozma. What more do you want from a Ho-Oh? Zekrom did manage to take out Zygarde by a Draco Meteor and essentially becoming the most effective Mon in 7U's team, in which after the Zygarde failed, I think Rim Sitby had a pretty hard matchup to come across because the rest of the game was boiling down to keeping that Xerneas in check. So, Xerneas did become the only major threat for 7U's team. It was not able to it was able to just keep hitting the special attack drops on the Moonblast. On Eternatus specifically, because it kept just hitting that special attack drop, so that was pretty nice. Unfortunately, though, as Calyrex hit the field, Rim choked big time by not switching and just letting Zern get to low health so that Zekrom can easily safely kill it, allowing 7U9I2 to get the win. So it was a big time choke on Rim's part, but I'm glad that Sevenu was able to foresee that and be able to actually pick up the W that way.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, it was practically a chess game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he would switch in Xerneas, but then 7992 would come. No, wait. 7992 tried to get Zekrom in as many times as he could.
Mm-hmm.
But Rimsby followed that up by getting Xerneas in every time he got Zekrom in.
Yeah, but even with Xerneas trying to hit the Moonblast on Eternatus and getting that special attack drop must sound pretty good. And I think 7U knew that, so he just switched into Kali. So yeah, that was a pretty good game for 7U982's part. It's a shame for Rim, but he did play a very solid game. Uh,
Indeed, he did.
Next up, Kyotoshi versus Blidius. This was a pretty much a bog standard OU. I think Kyo and Blit just played the most normal OU game I've ever seen, except for one thing. Uh, Lando's normal gem explosion set. Is that a common thing these days?
It's not super common, but I have been seeing it, so it's
I
not uncommon, I'll say.
I mean,
Or no, it's not rare.
I get it. You mean you want to take out the sweeper of the opposing team, or you just want to take out the other things, Lando. But doing it with normal gem explosion, like I don't know how to think about that. Also, the matter of fact is that Blidius' Lando didn't even kill Kyotoshi's Lando, which ultimately swept him at the end. So that was fun. Next up, Balor versus Airfare. What a sad game this one is. I don't.
I remember what happened.
So,
What happened?
so Balor did bring rain, and Airfare brought a team that is pretty much a counter to rain. So you got your Urshifu, you got your Ferrothorn, you got your Metal, you got your Dragapult. Okay. Um, there was a crit on Ferrothorn on the first part of the early turns. There was a crit on Ferrothorn, which I will show you right now. A first turn, it was able to crit the Ferrothorn right there, and was able to safely kill it. There was also a Steam Eruption miss on the part of Balor, so that one was also pretty bad. But you know what? I guess Karma bit Airfare in the butt because he missed a Draco Meteor soon after. So yeah, the rest of the game though was pretty one-sided in Airfare's favor. I mean, towards the end of the game, Balor's Barraskewda was in rain and pretty much just sweeping everything in Airfare's team, including the Ferrothorn, which it got parad too many times to really do anything against Barraskewda. Fortunately, though, Dragapult was able to come in at the last moment and hit the Shadow Ball in order to win.
So I guess it just came down to rain turns.
Yeah, Airfare knew how to outstall the rain and bring in Dragapult at a convenient time in order to win. Alright, next up, SSUU. We got Plos versus ABD. This one was actually a pretty good match from what I remember. I mean, yes, you got Plos who brought pretty much a normal UU team, sorry, and ABD bringing some pretty interesting mons here. You got your Sand, you got your Keldeo, you got your Raikou, you got your Mamoswine. That was pretty neat. Uh, so the first few turns of this game was good, solid UU play. I think both players should be well commended because it was a pretty close, pretty evenly matched game for the most part. There was a moment here where ABD misswitched his Keldeo, his Raikou for his Keldeo, whereas Mamoswine was out. I guess that was a perfect sack in hindsight, but at the time I was like, what? Why would you switch in Keldeo? Why would you hard switch in that way? So yeah, there was a moment where Skarmory managed to take out Zarude with him because of Rocky Helmet. That was neat. Right here. Although, unfortunately, Raikou came in and set up the Calm Mind in order to sweep. However, I will point out, though, that Cobalion... Okay, so he had Cobalion out in turn 24. He teleported to Cobalion, and then he switches to Salamence while Raikou went for Thunderbolt. What happened there?
Um, I don't, I don't know actually.
I guess what you said, like he may be
Oh
fishing.
wait, that was the game with the Raikou sweep?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, basically, I guess Plos was just hoping one of his bones would live.
Hmm. I mean, in turn 25, I would have switched to Mamoswine because I knew that Raikou would immediately go for Thunderbolt. I
Yeah,
don't.
but Miko, it had Scald.
I Scald. It can tank at least one Scald, I think.
No, it showed later in the game that it couldn't.
I mean, okay, maybe it couldn't, but I think Plos knew that. Even because
Yeah,
even a crit Ice Shard didn't even kill Raikou. So I would have switched to Mamoswine in turn 25 personally because he was going for Thunderbolt, but that's just me. Raikou ended up sweeping
but
the.
then he just would have died to Scald anyway, I think.
I guess so. And so, being that Raikou is faster, and yeah, that's just my own take, but it's good. It was a good win by ABD nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Zio Trip versus Floss. Finally, Floss was able to impress and actually win in RU for once. Just like with Kyotoshi, winning finally in OU for once. Uh,
Yeah.
Zio actually brought a pretty hyper offensive RU team with some interesting move choices, I would say. Okay, first of all, you got your Frostlass, which was pretty much support and was able to take out Toxicroak with Destiny Bond. But watch what happens here. You got Heracross. Um, Heracross was able to kill off the Registeel, which, okay. But then it revealed it had Endure. Endure Moxie Heracross.
It's Area.
Yeah, interesting choice there. Also, not to mention the Dragon Dance Aerodactyl, which was also brought out. But
Not the most uncommon of Aerodactyl sets, but not something you'd expect to see in RU typically.
yeah. Then the rest, of course, it was the rest of the game was pretty much Floss playing around Zio's hyper offensive strat. He's just parading around the strats pretty often and managing to be able to pick up the win here, even with the scare of the Celebi Giga Drain. It was pretty clear that Floss would end up winning. I mean, okay. I don't wanna crap on Floss, but I feel like the game was too easy for him. This was like a too easy of a matchup for him to win. Um, against Zio. Nothing against Zio though. I don't think Zio's a bad player and all, but Floss definitely had this one in the bag, and I would have much preferred it if uh Floss had a good showing. Well, he did have a good showing here, but let's see what happens in the next week so that I can be further impressed with Floss. All right. Next up, SSNU. We got Anarchius versus iNasty. This game was decent. I mean, okay. Hey, first off, you got Sandaconda managing to paralyze and set up rocks against iNasty's Virizion, which was nice. But the real star of the show was Alolan Executor, which with its life orb set can really like pick up really good kills. Like for example, it get the dry skin on the Heliolisk, also Draco meteoring the Talonflame, which proved to be quite the experience, I should say. Um, and yeah, just basically Giga draining the rest of the Mons here, including the
Or
Virizion.
flamethrowing.
Hmm.
Or flamethrowing.
Yeah, flamethrowing as well. Last few turns, iNasty sacked his Escavalier right after healing it.
Yeah, that was a little odd.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But yeah, Anarchist definitely outplayed iNasty in this one, so good showing again from the NU Goat. 3-0 right now. Next up, Lady Ryder versus Patek. This game was really good. Okay, people crap on PU because it is the worst tier, right? People like absolutely crap.
Uh, I think people don't like it because it's either the bulkiest stuff alive or it's like hyper offense. There's literally like no in between.
Yeah, it's literally hyper offensive or stall. But you gotta admit, the BLT matches for PU, well, the PU that we see in these BLT matches are pretty much like the best games of the week. Like week one,
Yeah, like the 300 turn Talenic game.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But this one is no exception as well. Patek versus Lady Rider was a really good game, y'all. I would absolutely check this match out if you could. Um, Patek. First off, there were a couple of bra moments in here. First off, Patek letting his Berserker sleep and take a flamethrower. That was not good.
To be fair, not all Weezing actually run flamethrowers, so maybe he wasn't expecting it.
Flamethrower, Will-O-Wisp, or even Fire Blast. I've seen a couple of Weezing like that.
Yeah, but like obviously Will-O-Wisp wouldn't have mattered there. It was asleep.
I guess so. Definitely the highlight of this match was Eldegoss and Scyther and Weezing working together, with Eldegoss just providing the support and rapid spinning and even Giga draining the Gigalith by itself. Weezing just being a generally good wall, and Scyther being the one to pick up those kills. So yeah, nothing else to note, and I'm impressed with Lady Rider every single time he steps onto the field. A very impressive PU game and a great win. And also Patek looked good in defeat, I will say. So yeah, definitely check this.
Yeah, so far it's looking like Lady Ryder will do well.
Yep. 2-0 right now. Next up, Kither versus Oras Mega. No shade, no shade to no shade to Oras Mega, but this was
Everyone would prefer to see Kither versus Frizz.
yeah, unfortunately, he first got subbed out, so we're just getting here. No shade again, but this felt too easy for Kither.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe I shouldn't say that, Pat, because Veggie did put up quite the fight. Well, okay, first off, Kither got an ironic burn on the first turn. You see, remember when Kither excessively get burned against Excelsior last week? Well, Kither got off a burn on Minfu this week.
Man, guys don't catch a break.
Yeah, I mean, fitting. I mean, very ironic there. Veggie's Porygon definitely put in some work in this game. It was able to paralyze the Pharaoh Seed and even kill the Starmie, which was very nice. Ultimately, Kither did pick up the win with Diglett, but I will give credit to Veggie for actually like keeping up with Kither throughout that game, even though the end result is predictable.
Alright, fair.
Next up, what should have been SMB versus Shadow Monster turned into Los Gono Shoto versus Quilly. What? Okay, as a doubles
Bit
player.
of a weird game that was.
Okay, Pokeart, as a doubles player, what do you think of both of them in doubles?
I'm not really an expert or anything, but like
We've seen VGC together.
that's different
It's still doubles.
meta-wise and technically mons and format-wise.
Okay, but go. How do you feel about both players being in doubles, and how do you feel about this game?
Well, basically, it looked like Quilly was winning, but then Losco won. Quilly kind of choked, I think.
You think so? What happened?
I mean, he looked like. What happened is that, from what I remember, he just didn't go for it.
Oh, okay. So there were pretty interesting spots here. First off, the the Zera Aurora. Was it Aurora and uh, it was no, it was Volcanion and Stakataka who doubled down on the Porygon 2, which was a kind of a blow for on Quilly's side, and also not being able to protect against the Torkoal right there because he kind of needed that for eruption kills. Um, but yeah, you're right. Also, the partnership between Volcanion and Zeraora really was put into work here because they kind of nerfed the Scarf Heatran.
Yeah, that was something I was surprised to see.
Never really see Scarf Heatran running around, but here it could have been put to effectiveness, but no. Let's
The
go.
guy used both Scarf Hatron and Scarf Tapu Fini.
Oh, he did? Nice. Okay, so again,
Yeah,
creative
if you
sets.
caught that, like the Tapu Fini outsped the Landorus.
Oh, okay.
And I
No,
don't
you're
think
right.
Trick Room was up.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, good showing by both players, but unfortunately, Loscano had to win here. So good job.
Well, I mean, Moscow is decent in doubles, so, like, yeah, makes sense.
Fair enough. Finally, for this series, we got Pote versus Sice, which let me point out something. Sandslash Alola in Pote's team, not
That
the.
was an interesting choice.
I mean, he also sent it out and let it get burned. So
Apparently, he said it was, like, for opposing Lando T's.
okay. Well, why would you?
It was Scarf, apparently.
Interesting choice. I wouldn't want. I don't know why you would want Sandslash against Landorus, but okay.
Because, Mikoi, it's an ice type.
There's better ways of handling Lando than Sandslash.
Yeah, like a Celesteela, but I guess he wanted the damage.
So speaking of the Celesteela, well, first off, the Ferrotorn power whipping the Rotom was pretty nice. But the Celesteela, it was the MVP of this game. It was able to chip and kill Toxapex with Air Slash Leech Seed, but it also killed Tapu Fini, and most importantly, Swampert after AG had already chipped it with Specs Steel Beam.
Yeah, that Age Slash was dangerous.
That was pretty dangerous, and Pote knew that ahead. And also, the final moments of this match, Crawdon was able. Well, Crawdon couldn't be able to kill the Excadrill because the Excadrill lived on 8 HP against the Crawdon.
Against Aqua Jet.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was Aqua Jet, but, you know, Pote won that very handily.
Yeah, all I'll say about that is that it was actually an unfavorable matchup for Poe. It was Steel versus Water, but like,
props to him for making it work.
Played bad. I'm talking real bad.
And I mean, what do you expect? The Water team was not the best. It just had to rely on Crawdon, and Yeah, just couldn't win that.
There were more outs than just Crawdont.
Hmm. All right, so that was it.
Kyler really had the matchup. He did not play well
He,
at
he
all.
didn't get the juice. Next up, we got the Lavender Laprases dominating the Dressrosa Dracovishes.
Yeah, I can't say I expected us to dominate after both our DOU and Uber slot lost.
And on one of your OU slots, but you know,
we're gonna have to take some L's in OU sometimes, but like
nah,
Ubers though.
but you guys are like the number one team right now. Come on, like, there's no stopping the Laprases. Um, first up, but you did start off like with a bit of a bruh moment. So first up, you got Aberforth losing to Leroux.
Yeah.
So Leroux.
That's what I mean.
So Leroux actually.
That's what I mean.
Leroux brought a pretty interesting modified Webs team. It had Shuckle, and of course you got the typical 5, but I wasn't really expecting like a ton of Shuckle usage, but I guess it works here in Ubers. Alright.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the main thing that happened in this game was Necrozma and Weavile were definitely the most threatening part of Leroux's team, as Aberforth didn't really have coverage against both. And it was
that MU was not too much in our favor, as you can tell.
Yeah, it wasn't. Also, but I want to point out, Scarf Xerneas?
Yeah.
Why? Why Scarf Xerneas and why Defog Xerneas?
You're saying you never seen a Scarf utility Xerneas?
No. Especially since you have Yveltal on your team.
What's wrong with having a... Oh, you mean like... Oh.
Yeah.
You mean you think the Scarf is for outspeeding Calyrex?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be, but that's obvious. But Nikwe, Yveltal is the switch-in. It can
Okay.
counter offensively too, but Yveltal's the switch-in.
Okay. And then Scarf Xerneas just will destroy it. Hypothetically, it will destroy a Calyrex. Oh no,
I mean, if by that point we don't have a Yveltal anymore, then sure.
Okay. I guess
I don't know, Mikoi, but that didn't come into play because this was a Webs team.
Yeah, unfortunately, the matchup just kind of screwed over Aberforth. So Leroux was able to pick up the win there. Next up, Harshal versus Clean Cuts. What happened in this game?
What happened is that Harshal played a flawless game prior, then choked.
Yeah, Harshal was definitely playing very, very well. He brought Nasty Plot Rotom, which looked like a threat as opposed to everyone in Clean's team. Maybe except Ferrothorn and Kartana, but that's beside the point. Clef did make some pretty good trick plays. Like, for example, it got first the Pharaoh's leftovers, and then took Zapdos's boots after it was Lefties was knocked off.
Yeah.
But,
I love that trick.
Yeah, but Lele ended up becoming a massive threat. It was able to take out Rotom and Heatran pretty easily with Specs.
Well, not easily with Heatran.
Really? What was that
That
Heatran?
took multiple hits.
I mean, I guess so, but it was pretty low at that time to really be able to do something. Also, the fact that the Scale Shot Garchomp took out Landorus. Okay. But yeah, the ending was fairly close with a Kartana 1v1 at the end, but Clean did bring Scarf Tana and able to win the game there.
Yeah, Harshal's was not Scarf.
It was Muscle Band, if I recall.
It was either that or protected pads. I don't really remember.
Okay. But
Might
yeah.
have been muscle band.
Yeah, Harshal played a pretty great game, but ended up choking at the end, so unfortunate for Harshal. Next up, Reginald versus Zern.
Wait. Let me just say though.
Yeah.
Harshal choked the moment he stacked Clefable, I think. Also, I think we still won if a certain what's it called again? I'm blanking because it's 6 a.m.
What do you mean?
Magma Storm. Magma Storm.
Magma Storm. Okay. If it hit.
If that late game Magma Storm hit, I think we won.
Okay. Yeah. That was also a pretty big factor. That Magma Storm missed, and unfortunately, Heatran wasn't able to take the W for there. All right. Next up, Reginald versus Zern. Oh boy, this game.
I feel bad for Zern.
Yeah, okay. First off, there was a weird turn 4 sack with the Tornadoes. I'm like, why would you sack this Tornadoes? Like, why? You could have switched into Excadrill and it would be perfectly fine. Um, the rest of the game ended up being kind of good until a certain point, and I think you know what I mean, PokeArt.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Nasty Plot Rotom back at it again, okay? It was up against Toxapex.
Oh, that's right. Zern's Nasty Plot Rotom.
Yeah, is he Toxapex carrying Poison Jab? Which, okay, I can see Poison Jab working with Toxapex. And Rotom was probably thinking, okay, he has a Lando, he has a Heatran. I could just probably fire off a Hydro Pump if that's the case.
No, Nikoi,
What?
don't think you're thinking of the right game.
No, wasn't it?
Raji had a Garchomp.
Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that Rotom still overpredicted and went for Hydro Pump against a staying in Toxapex, which allowed for the safe
Yes, you
kill.
see, he predicted the Garchomp switch, and you're going on about a Heatran Orlando T.
Okay. I was thinking of a different thing. Okay, thanks for the correction. But yeah, he was predicting the Garchomp. He fired off the Hydro Pump, which Raji stayed in. Got the Poison Jab
Raji
off.
stayed in with his Toxapex.
And he got the kill there. And then with
Poison Jab. Although I should mention, he did poison the Rotom prior with another Poison Jab.
Yes, so that wouldn't have mattered, I guess.
So he killed it with the Poison Jab, and did it actually die to the Poison Jab, or did it die to poison?
It died to Poison Jab. Yeah, it died to Poison Jab. So yeah, that was the first over prediction. The second over prediction came next. So Zern has his Volcarona out. He lives in Earthquake. And then
from Garchomp.
Yeah, and Volcarona ends up Quiver Dancing, and he was thinking, okay, I'm predicting he's switching to Toxapex, so I'm a fire off a Psychic. Raji stayed in, and Volcarona was killed by the Garchomp.
Yeah, even though the Garchomp was on like maybe a third of its health, you wouldn't think it would actually live at that range. So I'm tempted to say it's possible that wasn't even a over prediction, and maybe he just didn't have anything else to hit it neutrally.
Fire Blast could have been a better option, but I guess Heatran was still in there.
I don't know.
I guess Heatran was still in there, so maybe that wouldn't have worked. But yeah, in the end, I feel bad for Zern. I really thought you had this game, but no. Alright, next up.
I mean, the plays he made were completely understandable, so I don't he didn't play badly.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he played badly. I was just thinking
He just
maybe
lost some
the
50-50s.
overprediction and the 50-50 cost him the game. Next up, Udon Girl versus Dugza. This game.
Ah, what a great game.
My god, this game. Okay, first off, there was a crit on the... I will mention there was a crit on the Hippo down with the Zygarde, which I guess...
The Hippo down?
Hippowdon. I just like saying Hippo down, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so Hippo down was down thanks to Zygarde's crit 1,000 arrows. And the rest of the game played exactly as we would expect. It was a pretty evenly paced game from both players, which I will commend. And then Udon Girl brings out Registeel.
Yes, Registeel.
Care to explain what the set is for Registeel?
Amnesia, Iron Defense, Rest, Body Press.
This set should be banned outright because it was able to wall Skarmory really well, and
Iron Defense, Body Press Skarmory.
Yes, and it kept living the hits and just kept resting, which Dugza didn't have enough PP left to take out Skarmory, and Udon Girl just sat there, allowing itself to stall Skarmory and completely wall it.
Yeah, although I will say, thank God no crits came that game.
If there were crits, I would have laughed hardcore. But yeah, he ran out of PPs for body press. Keldeo came in, tried to do Secret Sword to try to bypass this hilarious Stolly set. But yeah, and ended up Registeel woke up, got the body press off Keldeo, and got the win by a forfeit. GG. What the hell? More creative.
If you can't beat Dugza the normal way, do the Udon Girl way.
That's why Udon Girl is in fast track mode to getting that Udon Girl award. Alright. Next.
Wait, you don't think she's already gotten it?
I think there was a contender, and we'll get to him in a bit.
Oh, come on, Mikoi. Udon Girl is the creator of the Udon Girl Award.
I mean, yes,
if
but...
anyone would have it, she would have it.
Well, there is a contender in this BLT, but we'll get to him. Next up, we have Arsenine defeating Crucify.
In what was a closer game than I thought. Oh my god.
Yeah, this one is actually a pretty evenly contested game. I definitely think both players really had it in them to be evenly matched. First off, though, there was a Metagross trick, which he tricked the Scarf on the Beware after it was properly set up to, and then Darkest Lariat to death. That was funny.
It's okay. He knew what he was doing.
But also Incineroar. He brought out a pretty dangerous looking Incineroar set. That's a really dangerous offensive set. You got U-Turn, Flare Blitz, Knockoff, and Swords Dance. Dangerous. Dangerous set, if you ask me. That should be looked into.
It's a one-hit KO to the wear.
Yeah. The rest of the game went...
it's weak to fire types, but... still.
Yeah, the rest of the game went very offensively as possible, both revealing quite the interesting sets. For example, Thunder Nidoqueen with Pasho Berry, which I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke that he would put Pasho Berry on his Nidoqueen, but he did. But you know what? It works. Whatever works, works. There was also Banded Flygon with Stone Edge and Dragon Claw, and there was also a sub Regidrago, which you've just seen.
And probably Earthquake in there somewhere.
Yeah. Ultimately, Special Crow.
Oh yeah, it had Earthquake too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no surprise.
Ultimately, Special Crobat did come in clutch against Crucify's Jellicent, and Nidoqueen was able to fire off the Ice Beam on the Flygon and won the game.
Well, you see, it came down to a lot of 50-50s. For example, like when it was Nidoqueen against Flygon, either the Flygon is going to Earthquake or it's going to Stone Edge because the other two Mons in the back were either resistant to ground or immune.
But then, Arsine
You see, he got the first 50-50. He killed the Glycopod with Stone Edge. Then Nidoqueen comes back in.
And then the
does its thing, and
I'm surprised he didn't win for
Earthquake. I think there was a later 50-50 in which Flygon was going to where Flygon was against the Nidoqueen again, and this time Arsine switched into Crobat. But that was the correct switch because Flygon used Earthquake that time. And that's when the Crobat set up, I think.
Okay. So that was pretty interesting there. And
Screens off. And that. Also, don't forget what the Incineroar did in the end.
What? What did it do?
Last minute intimidate the Flygon at one point. Before dying.
Yeah. It got in one last intimidate in.
Like intimidate the Flygon, send in
Nidoqueen.
Send in Nidoqueen.
To just the Ice Beam.
On the game that was that, but it was fun.
Oh yeah, it was pretty fun. Next up, Ziri versus GXE. Now, this game.
Wait. Would just like to point out, the game between Arsine and Crucify ended because, well, you see, the Bandit Flygon went for...
Procure your mic.
Have a bit of a... Okay, so the Bandit Flygon went for Dragon Claw to kill Crobat around the end, but like the Nidoqueen was at full.
Yeah.
Arsine did a great job of keeping that safe.
And ultimately getting the Ice Beam to hit the game. I'm surprised you didn't win for Earthquake.
Because the Nidoqueen Breakaway was banded.
I know, but yeah.
You don't Earthquake a Crobat.
Right, it was Crobat that was out, sorry. Continue. So yeah,
he's dragging Claw because of that. And, well, Dragon Claw does not kill a Nidoqueen from full.
Yeah. Yeah, Ice Beam and win.
So yeah.
Next up, we have...
That's what it came down to, 1v1.
Next up, we have Ziri versus GXE.
Continue.
Alright. Ziri versus GXE.
Ah, yes.
We have a pretty standard NU affair for like the first 68 turns. Even with Vape kind of walling Dragalge very greatly. It was standard affair for like the first 68 turns, but then we come to turn 69. Which I will pull up now. Fan Rotom.
Yes.
Fan Rotom came in and absolutely destroyed GXC's whole team. Like first off, you got the Nasty Plot, then you got the Air Slash, and then you substitute to get rid of the Toxic on Palisand, and just Air Slash the thing to death. And then Stack Attacker comes in, gets Thunderbolted, and dies.
Yes.
So the rest of the game was Rotom fan absolutely sweeping every one of GXC's mons and picking up the win.
I mean, once the X was gone, there was nothing stopping it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How long has my mic been blurring out?
Next up, we get one of your favorite matches. Tlanet versus Druid.
Not my favorite for length, but
No, not length.
oh my god.
This was a really, really well played game.
On Tlanet's part, yeah.
Well, okay. So first off, Druid was actually getting the upper hand for quite the first few turns.
The ME was not too great.
Yeah. First off, it allowed he allowed Tlanet's Quagsire to be sacked because it was hit with the hurricanes and eventually died. Didn't get to do anything. Also, Corsola never really.
It didn't get to do anything. It poisoned the Articuno.
I mean, that was it, but that was the only thing it did.
That was very long term. That was like there for the entire game. That helped us win, Mikoi.
Okay. Corsola didn't even get to set up rocks, which was pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, that really was. We didn't have rocks that game.
Over the course of the game, though, Tlanet played around with the remaining mons that he had impressively, with Avalugg managing to spin rocks away for the most part, standing up to most physical attacks. I mean, it took a Stone Edge and Drain Punch to the face, and it still lives.
No, there was no Drain Punch. I think you're referring to Close Combat.
For close combat, never mind. That was even more deadly, and it still managed to recover.
Crafty, yeah.
It still managed to recover from those attacks. And Audino went...
like, the Close Combat did, like, what, 40?
40, yes.
The Stone Edge did, like, what,
20?
47?
Oh, even more than that. Okay.
But that's only if it was above, if the Archeops was above half health.
Yeah, and also with Avalugg doing most of the physical work, Audino and Charizard came in for the special attacks and any respective and toxic. Audino was.
Did you just lump in Audino with special attackers?
No.
With
Charizard? No. Special walls, I mean.
Okay.
So it was able to.
Charizard a special wall, but okay.
It was able to get off also the flamethrowers and the respective toxics, respectively, on both sides. Very impressive there.
Yes, respectively.
Then, towards the end of the game, Druid's Archeops had a hard time playing around Defeatist and preserving Stone Edge and Earthquake attacks.
Well, you see, Mikoi, it was running out of Roost.
Yeah, it was also running out of Roost. Tlanet just PP stalled everything in Druid's team.
Literally everything, yeah.
And it was
Scrafty's Close Combat gone.
Stone Edge.
Archeops' Roost gone.
Stone Edge and Earthquake gone.
What?
Wasn't it?
What mon are you referring
Sandaconda.
to? No, that was Rock Slide, Mikoi. Even worse.
Okay. But yeah, point is that Tlanet absolutely
and Rock Slide gone. Recovered on Articuno Galar gone.
Yeah, basically Tlanet out PP stalled everything in Druid's team and ultimately pulled off the comeback and the win. Very impressive. Tlanet.
Not gonna lie, I thought we were done the moment he accidentally sacked Wheezing.
Yeah, but you don't really need Wheezing in the long term because,
No, it would have helped. I mean, we wouldn't have had to PP stall the close combats with freaking Avalug, if we still had the Weezing, it would have made us waste less recovers on Avalug, which would have helped things a little more long term.
Yeah, I guess so.
So yeah, losing Weezing was in fact bad.
But you know what? Credit to Taylor for pulling it off. Yeah. 294 turns. It took him only 294 turns, but he was able to pull off the comeback. Very impressive.
I like how Audino had like a total of 2 PP by the end of the game.
Yeah. Impressive there. Next up, we have Skelly versus Ace Hunter. This one, I I was left wanting more, and unfortunately, I'm getting more and more disappointed with Ace Hunter. Well, not partly his fault. It's just that the team choices weren't exactly the best.
By the way, did your mic cut out for a bit when you said Ace Hunter? Because what I heard was
Oh, it was probably the signal.
okay.
Anyway, so both brought an okay team. I mean, I wasn't a fan of Ace Hunter's teams. It just felt samey. Meanwhile, Skelly's team, I was actually like interested in because he brought he brought a Shello set.
Don't talk about what the Shellos was.
Okay.
He didn't get to use it.
Yeah.
He didn't get to use it, so they don't know.
So he brought in a particular Shello set that unfortunately we never got to see the rest of. I want to see that.
Yeah, it was. I'll say is that it was a little unusual.
Yeah. So for the first few turns, Carvana was on a rampage. It even killed the Frillish on a mistimed switch. I feel
That might have been a sack. I don't know.
maybe, but yeah, that was unfortunate. Cosmic. Here comes the real highlight of the match because this was really the defining point in the game. So, Ace Hunter, the Cosmic Power Natu was out, and it was setting up Cosmic Power Natu. Weezing was all like, okay, I wanna get this Natu out. I wanna like sludge bomb and poison and crit it to death. Natu goes for Psychic and crits Weezing.
Oh, ignore that.
And if you thought that was bad, look at the Meanfu. Yes, it kept knockoffing. Yeah, it kept knockoffing the Natu.
Question: What health was that Weezing on when it got crit?
51.
Bro, that didn't matter. That crit didn't matter at all.
Or 58, sorry.
Talking about?
Or 58, sorry, but you get the point.
Because didn't matter, bro.
But you'll see what I mean when I lump him in there. So Meanfu was like, okay, I'ma just knock off the Natu. Like, if I can get this crit, the Natu would be done for. Unfortunately,
no crits.
He didn't get crit, but look what happened. Meanfu got critted itself thanks to Psychic.
I like how just like, there's the crit.
Yeah, Welsh was like, there's the crit. Because he was fishing for that crit. Unfortunately, he didn't get it and got critted himself. I feel bad for Ace.
The sad irony of Lons.
So, yeah. And in the end, Skelly just took the win overall because he had a lucky heat wave on the Pharaoh Yeah, Ace was in prime position to win. Unfortunately, those happened.
Yeah.
Next up, Actuarily versus Z-Strats. Z-Strats brought Articuno to doubles. Not even Galar Articuno. Regular ass Articuno. Like, what the what is this gonna do, huh? Alright, okay, first off, okay, pressure stalling, okay. But there's better mods to pressure stall than Articuno. Anyway, actually brought a pretty interesting Scrafty weakness policy set. It had Grass Knot on the Scrafty.
Yep, self-activation with a weak move that I didn't know Scrafty learned.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of expected when I saw DNC out. But,
No, it wasn't. You didn't know Scrafty learned that, too.
I didn't. It. Oh, yeah, I didn't. Well, we watched this game live, and we were, like, blinded. But yeah, DNC was running Havoc for a bit. Heatran, though, coming in. Okay. This one I was kind of confused with. Turn 6, yeah.
I thought it was turn 5.
Turn 6, I think, because DNC would have protected. Why didn't actually go for protect against Life Orb Heatran?
Well, first of all, he didn't know it was Life Orb Heatran, and second of all,
Flash Cannon? Doesn't Heatran usually, like, freaking, doesn't Heatran know?
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It varies.
Okay, fair enough. But I would have personally protected on this turn, but, you know. And in the end, like, Z-Strat's Life Orb Heatran ended up sweeping the rest of the game and ultimately won him the game. So.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Oh, good on you, Z. And finally, Maroon versus Richard Pepper. Steel versus Fairy.
Wait, I need to...
Okay.
It's unfortunate that actually early lost, but I mean... He did win DLT recently.
Yeah, I heard. And we'll get to that. So, next up, we got Maroon versus Richard Pepper. Fairy versus Steel. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
That was nice.
So Richard, I actually quite like the sets Richard brought because he had good ideas. First of all, you got the Grassy Seed Hetren with Under Reflect, which is pretty nice. However, it was up against Banded Melmetal.
I mean...
It went through.
I think Richard honestly screwed up by bringing Fairy. Just saying. I mean, Maroon beat Fairy in week 1, and in week 2 he brought Poison.
Oof. And week 3 he brought Steel.
Like he brought Ground in week 1, which is good versus Fairy, depending on the team.
Yes.
And week 2 he brings Poison.
Yes.
Week 3
he brought Steel.
Well, I don't know what Richard was expecting exactly, but Steel.
But yeah, even with the Banded Melmetal broke through Azumarill with Reflect still up.
Yeah, that was nice. That was very nice.
So yeah, the rest of the game went as expected. As you can see, the Aegislash took out the Lele. But I will mention also in turn, like I said with Richard bringing really good sets. Tapu Bulu.
The Bulu.
So it had sword. So it had Sword Stance, high horsepower, and Excadrill luckily managed to Toxic this, which ultimately it mattered in the end because Bulu died to
ultimately, that won us the game.
Yeah, that won you the game. But yeah, Bulu was just sweeping the hell. Horn Leech, high horsepower, close combat, and Sword Stance, which, might I add, also critted the Corviknight in a thing that mattered, according to the calcs.
Yeah, you see, the Corvi was at +1 defense because it was a bulk up Corvi. But the Bulu.
The Bulu just went through it.
Was at +4 and life. No, it was not.
Not Life Orb. No. Not Life Orb.
Yeah, so it wasn't Life Orb. That's why it mattered.
Yeah. So
it killed the thing, but it killed the thing with a crit, but apparently that crit mattered, so,
Yeah.
yikes.
But, Maroon still simply thought ahead and went with Aegislash and trying to stall it that way using King's Shield, which ultimately it worked in the end.
Aegislash plus Ferrothorn.
Yes.
I mean, Ferrothorn didn't really help there, though, but
no.
it did by chipping it away a little.
Yeah. So that was good, Maroon. I think Maroon is 3-0 as well, so, ooh, scary. Next up, by the way, that was the Leprous versus Dracovich's. Next up, we got.
Yeah, you mentioned that. You mentioned at the beginning that the Laprases creamed the Dracoviches.
Yeah. Next up,
we freeze dried them. Actually,
hey,
it was very effective. It was super effective. 4 times.
8 times effective, actually. All right.
No, that's 4 times, Mikoy. Do you not know how it works?
Nope, and I won't. Next up, Sunny Shore Snorlaxes versus the Santaloon Swampers, which Snorlaxes won. Let's see how it happened. Miminger versus FC. The longest game of the week at 346 turns.
Can't say I was surprised at the result.
Yeah, I mean, okay. There were a couple of interesting moments that happened. First of all, there was the Thunder Wave Necrozma 1v1 around the start of the game and towards the end, where both sides were using Necrozma to just basically stall out their Stealth Rocks and whatnot. There was
I think they both ran out of Iron Head.
Yeah, but by that point they would have run out of Iron Head, so rip.
I know Miminger ran out. I'm not sure if FC did. I think he has maybe 2 left, possibly.
So there also was an unfortunate para on Ferrothorn against a sweeping Zekrom at turn 139.
Yeah.
Nothing much else to say though. It was a pretty good game, and I'm very surprised that Miminger was able to hold out for 346 turns against FC the Goat.
So, I can't say I liked how Miminger played sometimes. There were some not so great plays.
I could have ended that game faster, but he was playing a hard game. What do you expect?
Yeah, I know.
Alright. Next up, one of the few matches that actually I'm very looking forward to, and suffice it to say, it did not disappoint. TJ versus TDNT. This one is a short game, but it's a very good game. Both sides were playing pretty evenly or throughout the course of the game. Rillaboom actually proved to be the most essential mon in this match, being able to kill TDNT's Sand team with Grassy Glide. It killed this thing with Grassy Glide, this thing with Grassy Glide, and this thing with Grassy Glide. So good job. Also, TJ played around with TDNT's Lele's future sight, being able to switch out the possible any possible switch-ins it might have until Clefable managed to take a hit and fired a Moonblast later to kill Tapu Lele.
Remember when the Tapu Lele was just kind of locked into Future Sight and couldn't do anything?
Yeah, that was the point. And Clefable, Melmetal, and Hippo down and managed to switch a lot.
I don't like how just Hippo
down. So yeah, good job. So good job, TJ, for winning that one over TDNT. Good showing, and desperately needing a win, TJ. Next up, Zen versus Failures. This game. I feel bad. I feel bad for Pirouette in this one. Because the matchup wasn't great. Because it was his team versus 2 choice Ghostmons.
Oh god.
Which it kept sweeping.
Spam.
Yeah, which it kept sweeping through Pirouette's team. A crit on Finny didn't.
Were they Dragapult and Blacephalon by any chance?
Yeah. And that's what.
Spam!
Yeah, a crit on Finny certainly didn't help matters, as Pirouette's unfortunate matchup proved the game too unwinnable at that point, and yeah, Zen ultimately picked up a win in a good game. I wouldn't say it's the best game, but it was a good game.
I feel like Pyro should not have let Weavile get as low as it did.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, because it would have kept
Like,
sweeping.
he switched it in, then switched it out immediately after, but I mean, it wasn't boots.
Yeah, it was banded, I think, so rip.
It was. Yeah, that's why he didn't win. I think he won that if it was boots, but I'm not gonna criticize team choices. I mean, like, he
No, we are.
couldn't have known it would come to that.
Alright, next up we have the UU game, ESM versus Dunox. This was a really good game. Both were really evenly matched. First off, the first few turns, we had Dunox catching the Cobalion with Focus Blast. That was pretty neat. Also, Dunox's own Cobalion set was really good. You got Safety Goggles and Mega Horn. And also Stone
Yeah,
Edge.
what was Megahorn for?
I'm guessing it's for Hydreigon or Among Us. I don't know.
Not Hydreigon. You don't need it for that.
Yeah, close combat. But yeah, weird, but okay. The rest of the game was pretty, like, again, as I said, very even between both players. Certainly a good game for the masses. I recommend you watch this one. Unfortunately, I won't recommend you match this one because of the finish. So Dunox does have the match won. Unfortunately, he didn't go into Tangrowth while Golurk was up, as Hattrend would have easily creamed Hydreigon towards the end of the game.
And, you know what else was unfortunate?
Hmm?
The burn on
Diggersby.
I'm not sure if it mattered.
I don't
but
think
I
it
mean,
did.
I don't know. I was wondering if that Diggersby was quick attack.
Probably not. Otherwise, he would go for it.
Yeah, but I'm really curious.
Alright. And yeah, ESM also kept hitting the fire blasts. He didn't miss a single one. That allowed ESM to just win the game.
Yep, he just swept with Fire Blast Hydreigon in the end.
Yep.
Like, it was low. It was his last Pokemon to Dunox's 3 left.
Yes.
But one.
One Hydreigon. Next up, Alfuzon versus HJKHJ. This game.
I don't remember most of it. Just the end.
No,
That pains me.
No, no. Even the beginning was also painful. You see, you got you got Crobat, who was setting up Nasty Plot, and then Metagross comes in. Crobat hits a Heat Wave. Metagross lives on 1, and then he misses a Zen Headbutt.
Yeah.
What the frick? There was also a pretty there was also Alfuzon's own Metagross looking in prime in position to sweep. But unfortunately, Umbreon living that crit Meteor Mash, this moment right here, that moment of him hitting the Meteor Mash enabled him to kill the Metagross that way. Now let's talk.
So what happened? Did the Meteor Mash crit and raise its attack?
Well, no, but it was already at +1 by that point.
Oh, okay, so it raised it prior. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember that attack being up.
So let's talk about that ending, shall we, huh? So, you got Circuitry, okay? It killed, wait, not crap. you got circuitry. It killed the Golisopod with Energy Ball. Okay.
I thought it killed oh wait, no, that
No,
was
no,
at
no,
the
no,
end.
no, 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 no. So we're thinking. So Sharpedo comes out, and we're thinking to ourselves, okay, he's probably gonna protect, get that speed boost up to try and kill Circuitry.
No, what we're thinking here is that Alfuzon wins.
Yes.
Because, like, the Sharpedo is out.
Yes.
It is ready. It is in prime position to start going for stuff. Despite facing down a Circuitry, which, I mean, it probably outspeeds anyway.
Yes,
so we're
it
thinking
definitely outspeeds.
it's ready.
But then Circuitry managed to outspeed Sharpedo and kill it with Volt Switch.
Yeah.
What?
Why was it faster?
What?
Why was it faster?
Why was it faster? I mean, was that Sharpedo just not invested?
And like, that wasn't even a Scarf Circuitry either. It was Boots.
Yeah, it was Boots Circuitry, and somehow it managed to kill. I don't know. I think Elfizon, if Elfizon had protected that turn, he would have won.
He would have.
Yeah, so that was
Also
silly.
a turn where he tried going for a Mega Horn, but like that missed, and that miss mattered. But like, why did he go for Mega Horn when he could have just killed the Reanime with Earthquake?
Yeah.
Is there a reason he did that?
So yeah,
That was kind of stupid.
it was a really silly RU game, but it's not the worst RU game. Oh, we'll get to that. Next up, GW versus.
Wait. I just want to say something quiet.
Sure.
Based on that interaction with the circuitry and the Sharpedo, I know a few things.
Mm-hmm.
One, the Sharpedo was not faster.
Yeah.
It was not max speed Sharpedo.
Yes, it wasn't invested in speed or something.
Two, we don't know if it had Protect or not, but if it did,
It won!
It was the stupidest play to not use it that turn.
Why didn't he do it?
I don't know.
So dumb. It's not the worst RU play. It was not the worst RU game this week. We'll get to that, but it's certainly one of the most brain dead chokes I've ever seen.
Yeah, like I came around the end of the game looking at the Mons left. I'm like, oh, Alfuzon should have this. He just plays around properly and wins.
But then
Like,
I don't get it. I don't get it either, Pokeart. That's why I'm questioning.
I saw the circuitry killing the Sharpedo. I saw that part live.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
Like, what are you doing?
Hilarious.
What have you done?
Alright.
I actually thought you were going to win, Alfuzon. Why would you do this?
Alright, next up, a matchup that you're particularly a fan of because it's two buddies of yours. GW versus Team Charm.
Wow, my two NU buddies.
Unfortunately, them facing each other, it wasn't a pretty good game. It wasn't. It was kind of a bad game. Like Charm, I feel like Charm's Mons get severely outmatched by GW's. What do you think?
I guess. I don't know. I don't have the replay pulled up, so I can't look at their teams.
But yeah, it was the everything against Surfetch. Now, GW.
Oh right, the Surfetch.
So GW could have played around with Executor well. Unfortunately, he had to hard switch into Mudsdale to allow the body press crit to happen. Like right around here. Yeah, right around here. I get it was a crit, and yes, Executor, and yes, Mudsdale switching into no, Sandaconda switching into Executor. And then while Mudsdale was doing its body press shenanigans, that was dumb. But yeah, the rest of the game, it was really clunkily played. Like, Charm just had a severe disadvantage, and GW just. Well, I think it was most likely trying to keep his Surfetch safe against Mudsdale in particular. But yeah, Surfetch ended up cleaning the rest of the game. So that was an unfortunate win. That was unfortunate.
Yeah. Charm didn't really have much versus that Surfetch.
Yeah. Next up, PU, we got Ninja versus Blimax.
Oh, God.
God, this game, another meme game that happened. Well, first off, both teams brought Hattrem. I guess the tier ran out of Magic Bounce users.
Not that they really had much to begin with.
So you had to rely on Hattrem, of all things. Specs Vanillux proving to be quite the commodity, killing both Eviolite Hattrem and Ferroseed.
There was a Vanillux in that game?
There was. Blimax had a Specs Vanillux.
Oh.
Which proved to be effective. The rest of the game, probably the least interesting PU game this week, which is saying a lot because the rest of the PU games this week, freaking bangers. But yeah.
If you're willing to watch 300 turns of stall, then yes.
There was, of course, a crit on the Charizard against the Sandaconda, which was unfortunate. And yeah, the ending saw okay.
Wait, what was the crit?
It was Charizard critting the Sandaconda with Hurricane.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the ending results. So Regirock missed a Rock Blast on Archeops, which Blimax argues that he still would have won. Okay, fair enough. But you can, but like this.
No, Blimax would not have won that game.
You think so?
Hey, could you remember the final turn?
We will get, and that's what I'm. Nice segue into it. So the final turn, Silvally Fairy killed the Regirock. Charizard comes in.
Its sword stance killed the Regirock with multi-attack.
And then Charizard comes in, hits the Hurricane on the Silvally, misses the Rock Slide. Misses the Rock Slide, and dies to the Poison to win the game. Man, poor Ninja.
Ninja would have won that.
Yeah, Ninja would have won that. Well, you can make, yeah. Ninja and Blimax definitely had like the least interesting PU game, but because of the misses and that last turn really pushed it down a bit. But yeah, good win for Blimax. Very good win for Blimax.
That's the point of the last turn.
Yeah, I mean, that last turn really, like, poor Ninja. I feel bad for Ninja in this one. Next up, Taz versus Door Money. This is the match that we didn't get to cover last week. So, this game, it had more. Door Money brought more lol. Funny. The rest of the game, though, was pretty much in Taz's favor. Diglett was unsurprisingly the MVP of this game. Because, okay, first of all, that submission fail. Diglett trapped the Poniard, was able to kill it, even though it lived a Sucker Punch. Still killed the Poniard. Then, later, it trapped the Mienfoo to get the KO there. And then it revealed something that, to be honest, I wish most other Life Orb Diglett would run. Because, oh my god, it's one of the best things ever. Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb Diglett proven to be a commodity. And, yeah. I was a fan of that. I was a fan of that Sludge Bomb play, and ultimately, Taz just ended up cleaning the rest of the game.
Yeah, that sludge bomb play, that kind of blew me away a little.
Yeah, it was good.
Like, I mean, I wouldn't have brought a Morlo, but still, what was the
I want Sludge Bomb Diglett
was
to
the
be a thing.
sludge bomb for like Rookie or something? What was it for?
I want more Sludge Bomb Diglets out there. It was good in Gen 3, it should be good here. Next up, Crunchman versus Kesso. Now, this game, um, we did catch this live too, right?
I think so.
So turn 9 is something. Turn 9 was something that I would like to point out because this genuinely baffled me. So Landers comes in, goes Kyurem comes in. Landers, first of all, this was Scarf Landers. It U-turned on the Kyurem. Why didn't Cheese just straight up go for Earth Power on the Naganadel?
I don't remember the game, so I don't know.
I feel like if he yes, it would have been absolutely ice beamed to death by the Kyurem afterwards. But if the Naganadel wasn't gone, Tailwind wouldn't be up, and Cheese would have an easier time winning the game. So yeah, that
makes sense.
Yeah, so that was definitely a Morb play for the ages, and then Crunchman ended up like sweeping the rest of the game. So Morb. And finally, Attribute versus Lucas.
That was Steel versus Flying, right?
Yes, and I feel bad for Lucas because he didn't really play well here. Fair because I could understand that he couldn't really play well around Steel because Attribute was just kind of like mercilessly killing all of Lucas's mons. First off, letting that Mantine get toxic, but also letting the Thunderous get toxic. Which, I feel like if that Thunderous had Focus Blast, it would absolutely destroy the rest of Attribute's team. I mean, yes, it got Aegis Slash in there, but Thunderous is Thunderbolt.
Probably still would have lost to Aegis Slash, honestly.
I mean, okay. If it missed the Toxic, yeah. But yeah, the rest of the game, Attribute just kind of outplayed Lucas and ended up winning the game. Alright, and finally, we get the tie of the ties. We got the Majestic Milotics tying actually, the Jubilife Jirachis, which I kind of expected.
Funny how that works.
Which I've kind of expected because I feel like...
OU player managers tied.
Yeah, I kind of expected this because both teams seem pretty even going into this, so it was only natural to be a 5-5 tie. But this, looking at the games...
There were some interesting results here, though.
Yeah, let's kick it off now with the Ubers. First of all, you got Michael Derbest losing to Panuricata. This game, I mean, okay, first of all, they had both interesting, like, you had Calyrex on one side and you got Darmanitan on the other side. Oh, okay, good choices for ice types. But the rest of the game, I don't feel like it was well played by Michael. I think Panu really had Michael, like, his play was perfectly outclassing Michael's play. There was, however, a particular moment in the game that made me like, oh no. So, you got Xerneas right here. Xerneas had Geomancy and was a prime in position to take out Panu's Xerneas and aforementionedly the whole team. As a matter of fact, maybe Necrozma, but Yeah, we'll skip that.
But you see, then it paralyzed it.
Yeah, paralyzed it. Got up the Michael got up the geomancy, and then Moonblast paralyzed. Moonblast another paralyzed. Moonblast thunderwaved. Yeah,
Yep.
Michael got hacked pretty badly in this game, and Panu ended up getting.
Xerneas got paralyzed twice,
Yeah.
and a Moonblast drop.
Yes. So Michael was unfortunately hacked by the end, but yeah, this wasn't one of Michael's best performances.
I mean, I don't think he won that either way, though.
Yeah, same here. I think Panu still would have.
With or without hacks, he didn't win that.
Yeah. Next up, Unzips Kroger versus Starmaster in OU. Like, this was a pretty much a dominant win for Starmaster. Nothing really too happened aside from the fact that Tyranitar heavy slammed O-Code Clefable.
It's probably banded.
Yeah.
Or it could have not been, actually. I don't know what it was.
I don't know either, but
Tyranitar hits very hard.
But yeah, the rest of the game, it's one of the most one-sided OU games this week. So yeah, Starmaster absolutely dominated Kroger here. Next up, Spookies versus Starreal. In what was a complete 6-0, but not by Starreal. Well, you could.
It was a 6-0?
It was a.
No, I don't think I saw this game, so that's news to me.
So first off, you got Starreal sacking his Tornadoes pretty early on in the match. Unfortunate there. Starreal did show a cool Heatran set with Stealth Rock, Lava Plume, Rest, and Heavy Slam.
Oh.
Which looked promising, but ultimately, aside from a burn on Garchomp, didn't really get to do anything else. And yeah, the rest of the game, Spookies completely dominated Starreal and ultimately won the game.
Can't really blame him. I heard Starreal had to play at like 3 a.m. his time or something.
Oh, I get. Oh, maybe I get. Okay, maybe. Yeah, time definitely was a factor there, but 6-0.
Like, what time was the replay posted?
Let me check actually. Next up, we've got Xello beating Shiba.
With a sample.
It was a sample, and Shiba's team, I don't know, is questionable. It was semi-stall and semi-bulky O, whereas Xello was a complete sample.
Yeah.
This one was not one of the best UU games either. Like Slow King surprisingly tanking and not getting confused from Salamence's Hurricanes. That was nice. Xello tried to make his Thundy hit that hard and kill a bunch of mons, but Shiba was just too tanky because of the team structure and all. However, body press crit by the Skarmory onto the Salamence. Yeah.
When it was roasting, right?
Yep. That unfortunate accident, it picked up the win for Cello, and Shiba lost, unfortunately. Next up, I just want to delete this game from my memory. Splorsh versus.
I don't remember the specifics of this, but I remember it being cursed.
This Splorsh versus John Filch is a game that should have never happened ever. First off, you got the Delmise with a pretty unique bandit set, I think, because it had Poltergeist and Earthquake, which took out the Stack Attacka. Very nicely done here. And then, first off,
Wait, you sure it was banded?
I'm pretty sure it's banded.
Did it use like did only use the same moves when it was
Well,
out?
okay, it used the move, then switched out. It used the move, switched out. That's what Delmice did.
Oh, yeah, I guess it probably was then.
Alright, first off, the Crobat couldn't hit the Nidoqueen with Hurricane. 3 times. And the chat and Luthier was just going mental over this. So yeah, and it finally got to hit the Hurricane once he once he got off another nasty plot. He got the Hurricane off on the Nidoqueen, which killed it. So that was pretty bad. And now for the meme moment. This will probably be the meme moment of BLT. So Gastrodon lived the Poltergeist. What does Gastrodon do in retaliation? Used Counter on a Delmise! What? Splorsh? Are you okay? The rest of the game.
Then he was not quite okay.
The rest of the game, of course, didn't matter because, okay, Pain Split Chandelure was pretty nice on paper, but everything else, John Filch was able to just basically destroy Splorsh in the end. So, yeah. Meme moment of BLT history, ladies and gentlemen. And now delete that.
That was just unfortunate.
Next up, Luthier versus Wigglytuff in NU. So for the first couple of games, you see, oh, Wigglytuff does have a pretty nice electric terrain team with Pincharchin and Raichu, but basically working together. Sirfetch did went ham for a little bit. It was kind of sweeping for a bit there, but the rest of the game, Luthier just kind of turned the tides and just severely outplayed Wigglytuff. Once the Raichu was gone,
with his stall.
Yeah, Luthier ended up outstalling Wigglytuff and ultimately dominated to win him the game. Alright.
Well, let me just say, I didn't like how Wigglytuff played that.
It was bad?
Like, from what I could see, I think Blastoise had a good chance of sweeping if it got in and set up while terrain was still up.
Yeah.
Which Wigglytuff could have done.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunate case there, and then in the end, Luthier just outplayed. Next up, Easy versus Avarice. This one's a fun game. Absolutely one of my favorite games.
I like how slow it started, but then
the business just picked up. Business picked up after that. So first off, you got the Regirock, which had a pretty interesting set. You had Iron Defense, Toxic, and Rock Blast, which Easy kind of overpredicted on turn 4 because he sent out Charizard against the Rock Blasting Regirock. So that was bad. Avarice did bring some pretty unique sets. First of all, the Giga Drain Hetrem, which has become a thing, which was able to chip the Gigalith, but also magic bounce away the Stealth Rock. So that was nice. Also, it had Body Press. So yes, it also had Body Press, which is very nice. It also Whimsicott had Switcheroo, which was also nice. But then, turn 21, the Charizard came in. And it started wrecking house, boys. First off, getting off the belly drum, and Gigalith was like, okay, I'm a double protect. I'm actually double protect against Charizard right here. Good thing Charizard revealed Roost. And in the end, swept the rest of the game with Charizard. And Flame Charging.
Yeah, the set. It was an interesting set. It was Life Orb,
Yeah, Life Orb
Belly
as
Drum,
well.
Roost, Flame Charge and Earthquake.
I'm a big fan of that, and Avaris has once again impressed and got the win over Easy in a great use of Belly Drum Zard. Incredible.
Avarice has been doing great lately.
I'm very happy Avaris has been doing great lately. Next,
what's his current record?
2-1.
3-0?
2-1, I think.
Oh.
Hmm.
Well, who did he lose to?
Next up, Toe versus Excelsior. This was short but sweet.
Toe brought or should we say heroic Tobias?
Yeah, heroic Tobias. He brought a good team, I'd say. It was nice seeing the Frillish breaks through screens with Hex. That was pretty neat. But then out comes Stunky. Special Stunky.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of that. I really enjoyed seeing Special Stunky putting the work in and absolutely like dominating, sweeping through a bit of most of, even getting the aftermath off of Timber to kill that. A Tyrant sweep at the end of course, but it was understandable. Like Tobias had the win by that point, and which ended up being a good win for Tobias. Another player, another player who desperately needed a win. Next up, Mamalu versus Jonas. This game, this game had Zapdos. This game had Zapdos being used to its full potential. I think, for the most part, Rabombi and Zapdos really worked together to try to eliminate a lot of Mons and Geomatus' team, which was neat. And in the end, Rillaboom and Heatran just worked together to clean the rest of the game. What more do you ask for? Of course, Urshifu also did wonders, but... And it was nice seeing DNC doing weakness policy, but it died to Surging Strikes. So yeah, good for Mamalu, who finally got a win, and it was not based on RNG.
Oh.
And finally, Luisin versus Maki. Water versus ground. Guess who wins?
Not water.
Yep, not water, because Maki severely outplayed Luisin in this game. First off, getting the Swords Dance Garchomp, Swords Dance Earthquake Garchomp onto the Slowking. And then the rest of the game was just Mamoswine and Excadrill basically working together. Also, props to Maki for bringing Clear Smog Gastrodon and able to sweep there. And ultimately, Maki got the game. The rest of the game was won by that point.
Yep.
Maki enjoying a nice 3-0, I think.
Yep, currently 3-0.
So yeah, so that was it for the recap portion of this video. Now it's time for
I didn't like how Luisin played that, honestly.
I also wasn't a fan. I thought he kind of underplayed that one. Now it's time to get into the predict portion of our video, which is probably the video part of the video you're probably clicking on right now. First off,
Ooh, predict.
Ruin Valley Roserades versus the Dressrosa Dracovicious. This ought to be fun. First up, SSU Burst, 72992 versus Crucify. Kind of surprising that Crucify is playing Ubers.
Yeah, I was surprised about that too.
But so, despite being pretty honed in on RU as of recently, but yeah, you know what? Uber's good change of pace here. Unfortunately, he's going up against someone with much Uber's experience as 7U992 is. So we're picking 7U992 to win this one.
I wouldn't be surprised if Crucify wins here. I mean, he's a great player, clearly.
Okay. Next up, SSOU. Lascono Shoto versus Zern. Ooh, okay, so we see Lascona Shoto perform once in week 1. Did kind of okay, but ended up losing to, I think it was Easy. Meanwhile, Zern is pretty, Zern is pretty stable right now in OU. Yes, he may have lost the last one to Reginald, but I think Zern has more of the is more in tune with OU than Loscono is. So I'm picking Zern to win this one.
I don't know. Skono is pretty good, as
He
we
is pretty
saw.
good.
I mean, the game versus Easy was really close.
It was. But I think Zern should win this one. And I won't be surprised if Loscono wins.
Yeah,
Next
Skono has a shot here. Fair shot.
Next up, SSOU, we got Kyotoshi versus Clean Cuts. Two players who are currently 1-2 right now in terms of records. This one ought to be close, but I think I'm gonna stick with Kyotoshi on this one.
Same.
Okay, because Kyotoshi clearly his defeats I think were more stronger than Clean's, so I think Kyo's got the big chance
I
here.
mean, Clay's last week was kind of an unfortunate win.
But it was a win regardless.
Missed and perhaps a sack. It was a bit of a choke from Harshal rather than clean out playing.
Alright, so we're picking Kyotoshi on this one. Next up, SSUU, Plos versus Dugza. This one ought to be fun.
I'm gonna call this an HL match.
This is a big HL match. Plos has beaten two UU mains in the past. And Dugza's a UU main. So will the trifecta strike? I'm gonna say yes. I think Plos wins here.
Oh, really?
Plos has been on a roll. I mean, he did lose to ABD last week, but that was more of an unfortunate loss because he did get sweeped, as opposed to Dugza, who got annihilated. So Plos wins here.
Oh, I mean, Dugza was also swept, though.
Yeah. SSRU, Zio Trip versus Revenge Killer. This ought to be a good exhibition match for Revenge Killer because he's a good player, guys. Why? Why would you sleep on Revenge Killer?
You shouldn't sleep on anyone.
I think Revenge Killer has this one in the bag. I think he has
better player here, I think.
He has definitely had the not only the more experience but also the better play than Zio, who I think is decent but not up there. All right, next up SSNU. This ought to be fun. Anarchist versus GXE.
Very fun. That's another HL right there.
As a betting man, I want to take the risk and go GXE because it simply is GXE. But the safe pick in me says Anarchius, so I'm thinking I'm gonna lever towards Anarchius because 3-0 right now in NU, very very competent, very very dominant in the rest of the pool, as opposed to GXE 1-2.
Yeah.
All right.
And I mean, he got creamed by Ziri last week, so
Yes.
it goes to show I don't think he's quite as competent against real NU mains.
Shame. Next up, SSPU, we got Lady Ryder versus Pidgeot Mega. Lady Ryder's been hella impressive in PU as of late, beating Avarice and Patek with great matches to boot. Just goes to show you how amazing the PU meta game is right now. So I'm thinking
that's an overstatement, but
well, no, I mean the meta game as in yeah
as in what?
Yeah, the BLT landscape. I think PU definitely is the best tier in terms of games right now.
Stall.
Yeah, and ways to break it too. Pidgeot Mega definitely a good player. We've seen them perform well in the past, so I wouldn't exactly count them out. But I'm picking Lady Ryder to win this one.
I am also picking Lady Ryder.
Dude's a goat. SSLC. Kither versus Ace Hunter. As
Poor Ace Hunter.
I really want to call this an HL match, but unfortunately, Ace Hunter just gets locked against better LC players, and this will be no different here. Poor Ace Hunter. Kither wins it this one.
Yeah, unfortunately, the LC pool is just really stacked.
Too stacked, in fact. Next up, SSDOU. Oh boy. You want to talk about HL matches? SMB versus Z-Strats.
Oh,
Alright, the betting man in me says SMB wins here because, he's SMB. Z-Strats
I
though?
have to bet to say that.
Z-Strats?
SMB.
Yeah, Z-Strats though? Like, dude's coming off the back of some great wins in the past 2 weeks. I think Z may have a shot of beating SMB.
You think so?
I would not be surprised if Z Strats beats SMB in non-Haxy fashion.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, SMB
I'd
wins.
be a little surprised, but understandable.
I'm still gonna pick SMB, but I wouldn't exactly count out Z Strats.
Well, I know it's funny.
Hmm.
Z-Strats, I think, went for more than SMB.
Yeah, by like what, 500 or 1,000? They want Z
2,000,
more.
I think.
Z Strats went more than SMB. Mwah. And next up, we got SS Mono, Kev versus Kaguya-Liz. Two mono players who have, let's be honest, kind of been middling. Like,
Oh, I know what I think.
hmm?
Kaguya.
Okay. I'm also gonna pick Kaguya on this because as bad as Kaguya has been immued, but in monotype, I think Kaguya-Liz is the better player of the two. So I'm thinking Kaguya to win this one.
And the one time we saw Kev play was like,
Louisen. It was against Louisen, and he lost.
it was kind of he didn't play too well, I recall.
Yeah. So I think Kaguya should win here. Next up, Lavender Laprasus versus the Majestic Milotics. This one, highlight matches out the wazoo. Starting off with SS Ubers. Aberforth versus Michael Durbest 2. This one's ignoring the fact that Michael lost last week in pretty bad fashion. I still think this will be a highlight match.
I do too.
This one's gonna be tough. We're still gonna pick Aberforth on this one, but I'm not gonna be surprised if Michael wins.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah. SSOU, My Java versus Unzips Kroger. I've not been impressed with Unzips Kroger. Like, yes, OLT qualifier, but he hasn't been impressive in BLT as of late. So, and My Java, despite only getting to play 1 week and was a Shuckle and Nidoking sweep, still think My Java wins here. So yeah. Next up.
Hey, pops.
Hmm.
Pause it.
Next up, Reginald versus Spookies. This one ought to be fun.
Indeed.
Both players. Okay, going into BLT, I didn't think both players would do well because there were too many OU players, so they would get lost in the shuffle. But after 3 weeks, they've kind of impressed me. Um, I'm gonna go with Spookies on this one because while I do think Raji is good, I think Spookies definitely has the better plays overall, especially with that 6-0 against Starreal. Yeah, good Good wins over there. Next up, Udon Girl versus Excello. This one is a matchup between two players who upsetted UU mains, with Udon Girl beating Dugza and Excello beating Shiba.
Yeah, it's kind of like a tournament bracket there.
Well, honestly, both are really good players, though. Well, so far, both have proven to be quite the decent player. I'm gonna go with Cello on this one. So, Udon Girl, if you're watching, you better come up with something entirely whack, entirely crazy this week.
Oh, I bet she will.
And
That's what she does best.
Surprise me, Udon Girl.
Although I'm not saying it's guaranteed.
We'll see. Next up, SSRU. Arts9 versus Splorsh. Splorsh.
Lol.
Yes, we're picking Splorsh. Lol. Splorsh hasn't been really too impressive lately. Like, never forget that one game last week. But, he's contending against the best RU player in this pool, so this should be an Arts9 win through and through. Next.
Yeah, no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Next up, SSNU. Ziri versus Luthier. Kind of another sleeper highlight match. The betting man.
Sleeper highlight? Oh no, that's just a normal highlight,
Okay.
I think.
Okay. The betting man in me says Ziri because he is the safe NU pick. And I would bet all the money in the world if Ziri will win this one. Because I haven't been predicting Ziri a lot in these videos. So it's time for me to finally pick Ziri against Luthier, who is a GOAT, don't get me wrong. He has a pretty good record in NU as well. But Ziri currently I think is 3-0, so should win here. Next up, T-Lenet
Although
versus...
I wouldn't sleep on Luthier. I mean, according to Ziri, he won NU Open or something?
Ooh, so no sleeping in this sleeper HL. Alright, next up, SSPU. T-Lenet versus Easy. Well, this already happened.
Yes, it did, because Telenet got first blood.
We'll talk about that game next week. Alright. Next up, SSLC. Skelly versus Tobe. Or Tobias. Ooh, these are two LC players who I feel like underwhelm me this year. I think both haven't been playing to the best of their abilities. I'm thinking...
You say that for Skelly? You saying that for Skelly?
Yes.
After his win versus Ace Hunter?
Yes, even that didn't surprise me at all that he would win. Underwhelming.
And his good game, apart from the choke versus Frizzo?
No, I'm still underwhelmed by it, honestly. I want more. I want more good Skelly stuff. I'm still gonna pick him over Tobe because Skelly has the more in tune with LC so far against Tobe. But I just want something better. I just want a better performance for Skelly. Alright, DOU. Actuarly versus Mamalu. This one ought to be fun. Honestly, I'm thinking this would be a highlight.
Really?
I think this is a sleeper. This is the perfect definition of a sleeper. Both players look to be pretty even. Actuarly doesn't...
Even?
Well, okay. Actuarly is... You could say Actuarly is better than Mamalu in terms of playing style, but both genuinely have like the same feel in terms of how they play doubles. That's what I've noticed. Also, both have the same record, I think. 1 and 2.
You don't have to rub it
in. No, we're roasting everyone. Remember what I promised.
No, isn't Mamalu 2-1?
Oh, is he? Well, that just proves it that Mamalu should win over Actuarly. I'm picking Mamalu doing this one.
Oh, you traitor.
Hey, I mostly predicted Laprases so far, okay?
And he just won DLT. Come on.
Oh yes, and actually did just win DLT. But I think Mamalu will upset. I've picked Laprases mostly, like this next one, Maroon versus Luisin. Completely one-sided. This is a Maroon win and a half.
Oh, okay.
So I predict the domination win from the Laprases. Next up, Sunny Shore Snorlaxes versus the Jubilife Jirachis. First up, SS Ubers, we got Miminger versus Panurakata. These are two players who have upsetted, well, not upsetted, but took some of the best Ubers players to their limits. Like, Miminger took FC to his limit by giving him a 346 turn game, and Panu beat Michael. So on that alone, Panu should be favored.
Yeah, I think so too.
Next, SSOU, we got Zen versus Stariel. As much as I want to predict for Zen, tried and true OU mains always win. So Stariel.
Yes.
SSOU. This one, I'm really excited for. This is a HL match. TDNT versus Star Master. Both really good OU players. I hope this doesn't be anticlimactic. Please, I want a good game out of these two. I'm picking Star Master to win.
Yeah.
Next up, SSUU, we got Elfuzon versus Excelsior. Both LC mains going into UU. A lot of theming in this week. LC mains with UU as their second tier. Elfuzon and Excelsior. All right. Who do you pick here? I reckon I pick Elfuzon to win.
I'm gonna pick Excelsior.
Really? What made you say that?
Let's see. Last week.
No. Forget last week. Forget last week. Despite that horrible game against Theo. So, Excelsior to win for you? Okay. Next up, SSRU. Gorex versus Maki.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why Maki is slotted in RU, but
I guess. Alright.
have at it, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to play RU against an RU main in Gorex, so. We have seen Maki do well in other tiers besides Monotype. I think I'm gonna go with Gorex, yeah.
Gorex is the safe pick,
Yeah,
as you would say.
As the betting man, I think Gorex should win. GW versus Phantom Mystics in NU.
Hey, that last part you said was cut off. Gorex should. That's all I heard.
Gorex should win. Next up, SSNU. GW versus Phantom Mystics.
Up next, Gorex again.
Hey, they both start with G. It's natural. GW. I mean, good to see Phantom Sticks again. Good to see Phantom Mystics again, but the match against Anarchias wasn't exactly the best showing. So I think
it was Anarchias. What do you expect?
I guess so. All right. So GW should win here. Next up, SSPU Ninja versus Avarice. I would call this a highlight match, but unfortunately, it happened.
And Avarice won.
Avarice did win against Ninja, and we'll talk about that game soon, next week. Just a hint, it was a interesting game.
Oh, I bet it was. I don't recall if I caught. Wait, I think I caught live. I just don't remember.
You caught it live, yeah. SSLC Taz versus Raj. Well, Raj's first BLT is up against Taz.
Wow, that's Not a great start.
Well, Raj has been known to cause quite the upsets in BLT in the past. May I point you to the direction of Raj versus Serene Grace? So he could potentially put up the upset. So we're still picking Taz because he is 3-0 right now. But if Raj manages to upset Taz, I'm gonna go flip a table.
Okay, I'm just saying you should prepare a table in advance then.
SSDOU Crunchman versus Jonas. This one I feel like both players are evenly matched.
What?
You think so? You don't think so?
No, not really.
Uh-huh.
I think
Both.
Crunch is a little better here.
Okay, yeah, I'm still picking Crunchman. Man's currently 3-0 right now. Has a better record than SMB, than Z-Strats.
Oh, that is a painful fact.
So yeah, I think Crunchman should win here. Please meme this one. Please meme. Also Morb. SS Monotype.
What?
Well, they wanted me to say Morb. Crunchman and Fragments.
And you listened.
Yes. SS Monotype. Attribute versus John Filch. John Filch is wasting a perfectly good, perfect record in RU to go up against Attribute, who is 3-0 in Monotype. So, no surprises on who wins here. I mean, John Filch is...
was there some sort of plan when switching up this lineup in this fashion, or
maybe, but it could be just managers like trying out new things. I'm not a manager, so I can't attest to that. So,
I don't think this was the week to do it. You're up against the second place team right now. They're 3-0.
Yeah. Finally, we come to the Santaloon Swampers versus the Salesian Solgaleos.
We didn't say Attribute won.
Yeah, Attribute wins.
Yeah.
Santaloon Swampers, Salesian Solgaleos. Ooh, I am so... I mean, okay. Let's predict. SS Ubers, FC versus Rim. This is a highlight match and a half, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare to see a stall game. 450 turns of this.
Epic.
Yeah. Let's go FC. I'm picking FC to win. Bias. What can I say?
Not gonna lie, I'm almost tempted to pick Rim Sippy.
You think so? You think Rim is better?
He could be.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see about that. Next up, TJ versus Airfare. This shouldn't be close. I think TJ wins this.
Unfortunately, I agree.
Yeah. SSOU failures versus ABD. Again, I feel bad for predicting against Pirouette. ABD has had better success, so I think ABD should win here. I mean,
I'm also predicting ABD.
Yeah, failures is 0-3 right now, unfortunately.
He's been piling on the failures.
Yeah. SSUU Dunox versus Oras Mega. Another one that really shouldn't be close, but you know what? This could be an evenly contested matchup. I'm still gonna pick Dunox.
I picked Dunox too.
SSRU HJKHJ versus Floss. This should be fun. This should be an even matchup. Considering that Floss finally impressed last week, now he's going up against much more competent RU main. Sorry, Zio. Against HJKHJ. This should be pretty even, I would say. And I'm thinking Theo. I'm backing Theo on this one.
Floss.
Okay. Next.
And I think saying that this is close or even is an understatement.
Ooh, okay. Alright, SSNU. Team Charm versus Mal.
More like an overstatement for Theo.
Hey! Don't count out Theo! He's just getting into RU.
I will count out Theo.
Fine.
Because clearly he doesn't name the tier.
He's an all-arounder.
Standard stuff.
He's all-rounder. You can't fault him for that.
He's bringing the standard stuff.
Alright, SSNU. Team Charm versus Malmon Salt. Because I refuse to call him Banbatoro. Alright. Two players who are well known in the tours room scene.